My name is Natalie Carter. I'm 38 years old, a mother of 3, and until recently, I believed I had built a life based on trust, love, and shared dreams. My husband, Ethan, and I had been together for 15 years, 13 of them married. We had weathered job losses, postpartum depression, relocation, a miscarriage, and 3 births. Our life wasn't perfect, but I thought it was real. I thought we were real. We lived in a quiet suburb just outside of Denver. A 4-bedroom colonial with a garden Ethan never watered, a dog we adopted on a whim, and a mountain of debt built on mortgages, student loans, and the assumption that our future was shared. Ethan worked in finance, mid-level, but steady. I was a part-time teacher and full-time mom. I took care of the school runs, the homework, the groceries, the dentist appointments. I also managed our budget, kept us afloat through coupons and side gigs. I gave all of myself. Every corner. But then, small things began to shift. It started with his phone. He never used to care where it was. It would lie on the nightstand, on the kitchen counter, unlocked. Now it was always in his pocket, always face down. He changed the password. He took it to the bathroom. Once, he snatched it from our toddler's hand with a look on his face I hadn't seen before, panic. Then came the absences. Late meetings. Weekend conferences. Networking dinners. He smelled different when he came home, too much cologne. And he had this glow. The kind a man has when he's being flattered, adored, fed ego and skin. I started to ask questions. Long day? I would ask casually. He would nod, kiss me absently, then go straight to the shower. I stopped sleeping. My stomach twisted every time his phone buzzed. I began checking his pockets when he left clothes for laundry. Nothing, he was too careful. One night, after he fell asleep, I unlocked our shared iPad, synced to his messages years ago. Most were business-related. A few from his gym. But then I found one message, deleted, but not from the preview line on notifications. Missed you yesterday. Still thinking about your hands. My body went cold. I tried to shake it off. Maybe it was old. Maybe it was spam. Maybe, God, maybe I was overreacting. But the voice inside me, the one that had quieted itself for years in the name of being a good wife, whispered, "No, Natalie. Something is very, very wrong." I started a folder. Dates. Patterns. Screenshots. I tracked everything. I followed bank transactions. I called a number that appeared twice a week, blocked ID. A woman answered and immediately hung up. That's when I hired a private investigator. His name was Clay. Ex-military, discreet, expensive. I paid with a credit card I had hidden from Ethan, originally for emergencies. I told Clay I needed to know the truth, no matter how much it hurt. 3 weeks later, he had photos. Dinners. Hotel lobbies. Kisses in parking lots. I expected to see a woman I didn't know. A coworker. A fitness trainer. Maybe someone from his gym. But instead, I saw my sister. Samantha. I stared at the photos, my hands trembling so violently I nearly dropped them. Her long dark hair. Her red scarf. Her goddamn wedding ring, still on her finger. My sister. My only sister. The one who held my babies after birth. The one who cried at my wedding. The one who borrowed my dresses and called Ethan, the best man a girl could ever wish for her sister. I vomited in the bathroom. I couldn't breathe. I called Clay and asked him to verify. He already had. They'd been seeing each other for months. Maybe a year. Maybe more. He hadn't met her through work. He met her through me. I spent the next 4 days in autopilot. Breakfast. School drop-offs. Dinners. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just moved. Then, one night, I asked Ethan, while folding laundry, "Is there anything you need to tell me?" He hesitated. Just a blink. But I saw it. He said, "No, why?" I handed him the folder. He didn't even open it. Just stared at it. Then he whispered, "She makes me feel alive," like that was justification. Like that erases 3 children, 12 Christmases, a miscarriage, and my mother's funeral where I held his hand while he whispered condolences to Samantha. I didn't beg. I didn't shout. I told him he had 48 hours to leave. He asked if he could tell the kids together. I said no. He moved out that weekend. 2 weeks later, Samantha confirmed it. They were together. "It just happened," she said. "We didn't mean for it, but it's real." I laughed. Actually laughed. Because if I didn't, I would have fallen apart. Now, it's been 6 months. The house is quieter. The kids still ask questions. I say, "Daddy is figuring things out," which is true. I see Samantha sometimes. At family events. My father tries to pretend it's not happening. My mother is heartbroken. I'm surviving. I'm not okay. But I'm better than I was. And every time someone says, "You're so strong," I want to scream. Because I'm not strong. I was blindsided. Betrayed. Left alone with 3 kids and 2 mortgages and a shattered version of my past. But I'm still here. And maybe that's enough. 6 months after Ethan left, the dust hadn't settled, it had just grown heavier. Not a day passed without remnants of him scattered across our house. A sweatshirt under the bed. A coffee mug with his initials. A song in the car that used to be ours. The children were adjusting, or at least pretending to. Jake, our 13-year-old, buried himself in gaming. Emily, 11, became quiet, like the volume inside her had been turned down. And Lucas, just 5, asked every few days when Daddy would be done with his trip. I wanted to tell them the truth. But how do you tell your kids that their father chose lust over legacy? That the woman who bought them Christmas presents and painted their faces at birthday parties was now sleeping in the bed you picked out on your honeymoon? So I told them versions of the truth. Daddy is trying to find himself, I'd say. He's making decisions that adults sometimes make. It was like feeding them cold soup on a snowy night. It filled a space, but warmed nothing. Therapy became my oxygen. Dr. Medina was the first person who looked me in the eyes and said, "You are not crazy." She let me rage. She let me weep. She let me sit in silence when I had nothing left to say. At night, after the kids were asleep, I journaled obsessively. Page after page of memories, questions, and lists. What I gave. What he took. What I'll never get back. Then came the divorce papers. Clean, cold, precise. He wanted joint custody. He wanted to keep his retirement untouched. He wanted me to agree to mediation, to spare the kids the pain. But what about the pain I was already drowning in? My lawyer, a sharp, gray-haired woman named Denise, helped me stand my ground. "You've already given him your loyalty, your home, your family," she said. "He doesn't get your dignity too." We battled in conference rooms, over email, in courtrooms that smelled like old carpet and stale coffee. He showed up with Samantha, her hand gripping his like a prize ribbon. They dressed in matching navy. She wore my perfume. I nearly broke. But I didn't. One day, while sorting through the attic, I found an old box of letters. Love notes from college. Birthday cards. A photo of Ethan holding Jake for the first time, tears in his eyes. I burned them. Not out of hatred. Out of necessity. The divorce finalized 8 months later. The judge split assets fairly. I kept the house. He got the lake cabin. We split custody, but the kids mostly stayed with me. He called on weekends. Sometimes he forgot. Samantha and Ethan moved in together. I heard they hosted a barbecue. I wasn't invited. But I hosted my own dinner, just me, the kids, and my closest friends. We laughed. We told stories. We survived. The most unexpected part? I started to feel whole again. Not all at once. Not in cinematic moments, but gradually. Like the morning I caught my reflection and didn't flinch. Like the first time I laughed, really laughed, without guilt. Like when Jake made me breakfast and said, "I want to be a good man, Mom, like you are a good mom." That's when I knew. Betrayal does not define me, healing is not linear. And survival is not weakness, it's proof. Now, 2 years later, I've changed careers. I work at a women's resource center, helping others rebuild after the storm. I tell my story, not to scare, but to remind them, there is life after devastation. Not the same life, but a truer one. I still see Ethan sometimes. At school events. At pickups and birthdays. He looks older. Tired. I don't feel pity. I feel distance. As for Samantha, she avoids me. At family gatherings, she sticks to corners. She smiles too much. Her eyes, though, are always watching, like she's waiting for a shoe to drop. But I'm done dropping anything. I carry what matters. I let go of what doesn't. And I walk forward, not as a victim, but as a woman who faced the fire and chose to rise.